Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order at this time. If you will, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. This time I'll call on Councilman Dunn if he will lead us in the invocation.
Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to come together to do your work and the work of the town. And please be with us as we do what's best for the town. And thankfully, no one was hurt in today's accident, which everybody lost power. And thank you for the quick response from the town utilities during this heat wave to keep everyone safe. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, gentlemen, you have the agenda in front of you. There are a few known changes that I have to the agenda. One is to remove from the public hearings the Unified Development Ordinance Amendment for multifamily in B3. And then there's been a request from staff to add to the consent agenda a special event. Two Broke for Sturgis. Bulldog Harley Davidson is requesting to hold an event at 1043 Outlet Center Drive on August the 10th, 2024 from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. The request includes amplified sound, food truck, merchandise for sale, and free beer. The next consent agenda request is consideration and request for approval to award a bid in the amount of $257,760 to, is that? Alderton Dodge, which is on the state sheriff's contract for the purchase of 6 vehicles for school resource officers for the police department. Any other changes or requests this time to the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add a business item.
Okay.
I'd like to add business item number 2, discussion on the social district in downtown Smithfield.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from anyone? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thank you. Okay. We'll move on now to our first public hearing this evening, and only public hearing this evening. This is not a quasi-judicial hearing, so no need for anyone in the audience to be sworn in on this matter. It's a rezoning request at 400 Brightleaf Boulevard, RZ-24-06. David Dupree of Market Street Investments is requesting the rezoning of 3 parcels, a .89 acre parcel, Johnston County Tax ID 15033 in the O&I Institutional Zoning District, a .15 acre Johnston County ID 1506033, and a .14 acre parcel, which is Johnston County Tax ID 150-16032 in the R6 High Density Single, 2, and Multifamily Zoning District to the B3 Highway Entranceway Business Zoning District. It's time, Stephen, I'll turn it over to you, and I'll ask for a motion from the council to open the public hearing.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So the property to be rezoned is at the southeast corner of North Brightleaf and Hancock Street. And it's the 3 parcels here encircled with yellow. As you can see, the closest to Brightleaf is an O&I property, and the other 2 properties are R6, like the mayor just described. And across Brightleaf is O&I, and you can see adjacent, you've got B3 and then more R6 to the east. So a lot of different districts all coming together at this one spot. This is town utilities. It's within the town. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. So the comprehensive plan actually guides this property for medium-density residential. This property, as I said, sits at the juncture of several different zoning districts and land uses. I believe the intent of the land use designation being residential was to grow and protect the residential area adjacent by providing multifamily residential conveniently located to the hospital, drugstore, and other uses. That being said, the size and shape of the development site is difficult. It'll be difficult to develop that property kind of in any of those land uses, but B3 has the most expansive use of land uses, and we believe that is probably the most feasible given the situation on the land. The residential property to the east is actually owned by Walgreens, so that's not likely to develop residentially either. So, as you can see on this map here, this survey, the Evanston Smithfield 2 LLC, that is the same as the Walgreens property ownership. And so we don't see that as returning to a single-family use in the future. You can also see that 9th Street used to cross this property, and that was vacated or closed maybe 2-3 years ago by the town council. And at that time, a utility easement was left in place over that former street right-of-way because there are utilities located there. And so it's also, there's a 50-foot building setback along Brightleaf Boulevard, so that makes that somewhat difficult. The access is more than likely going to be from the Walgreens entrance or from Hancock Street, again, making it a difficult site to develop. So staff is in support of this rezoning. We believe it'll be consistent with the comprehensive management plan. With the zoning amendment, the comp plan would automatically be updated, and we believe it's appropriate. The site will be developed in accordance with the UDO, and we do believe it's compatible with the surrounding land uses. Again, that site could almost be any land use and kind of fit in, because there's commercial, there's office institutional, and there's residential nearby. But given the circumstances that exist on the ground and the adjacent property being commercially owned, we are in support of this rezoning. So staff recommends approval of the rezoning RZ 2406 with a statement declaring the request consistent with the town's comprehensive growth management plan as hereby amended with the zoning adoption and other adopted plans, and that the amendment is reasonable in the public interest. And I have a similar recommended motion. Any questions?
Any questions from Planning Director at this time?
Steve, is there a plan with this, or just rezoning to?
I have heard that there is a potential land use purchase. I mean, someone's going to purchase it for some sort of commercial development, but I don't know exactly what it is. But there is an interested party.
Okay.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, because I believe the town, when we closed that road, right, we were, I mean, as part of the developer's request, to kind of put that piece of property together. Mm-hmm. So we actually provided benefit for that piece of property.
That's correct.
So it could be developed, right? So by
That's right.
closing that road off, we allowed that parcel to now be developed. And I certainly would like to understand what is being proposed there, if that's all possible.
That's
So, 'cause-
kind of, like when we rezoned the one out by the airport, I shared the same concerns, with taking something and then changing the zoning on it and not having a say on what goes there when we have opportunity. Will it be commercial? Yeah, it probably makes sense, but I think that gets us into a little bit of
Yeah, I
other
mean,
B3 discussion, like is this all, is B3 structured like we see fit? We're taking a lot of houses, a lot of apartments, a lot of townhomes are coming at us, and they're not going to stop. So I'm just real nervous about B3 zoning and any rezoning now. It's just, I mean, I've supported most of our development in town. I think we can take some of it, but I know we can't take all of it. If we're careful not to ensure that this stays commercial, we're going to start giving up valuable commercial land. And like the economic development lady, forget her name, mentioned that in her presentation. Be careful, you might turn into a bedroom community. I think we've seen that in the western part of our county, where towns like Clayton grew and grew and grew and grew, and now they're raising taxes. If we don't try to keep our arms around this is just one little parcel, but there's no little parcel here, no little parcel there. I don't know, I just have concerns. I think commercial, great, but if we can get some guarantee that's gonna stay commercial, let's move forward, but we don't have that opportunity in this setting, if we approve.
Well, the question is could they have come in
The
with
applicant,
conditional use?
the applicant was hoping to live stream, so I guess he wasn't coming.
Well, but my question is could the applicant have requested a conditional use for this zoning?
He could, but I don't think he's going to be selling the property. So he's selling it to someone who wants to develop the property.
Got it. Okay.
And I don't know who that is,
Right.
but I've heard, I believe it is a commercial development, but I can't confirm.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this matter? Anyone in attendance? Okay. I'm not seeing any. Any other further questions for Stephen or staff at this time on this particular one? Yeah, I do. I hear what Councilman Stevens said. We had the lady that just presented our economic development plan at our last meeting, and she stated that she has been working with communities who have allowed their commercial and business districts to turn into residential, and they have basically become bedroom communities with no retail or commercial to support the housing. So I certainly understand Councilman Stevens' concern there as far as that goes. So
There's this, for everybody knows, right when I got on, read this book, shared it with the council, and a council member in another town shared it with me. And it talks about growth and managing growth. And one of the things, it pointed out a good statistics, and statistics can be made up. It was a stat, and I'm not exactly right, but for every dollar that residential brings into your town in tax dollars, it takes $1.25, $1.35, $1.45 to service that customer. Where commercial, for every dollar that they put into the tax pot of money, it costs us about 20 to 30 cents to service those customers. So that's where I'm coming at from. Just hesitancy on the way our B3 is written, and just a leeway. Yes, this man may have want to do commercial in there, but as we've seen, we've been showed plans before, especially on residential, and then it just gets sold for whatever reason. Things happen, and then another product comes in that place, which is allowable, but I think we need to be very careful.
The second item that was going to be a public hearing tonight was to discuss our B3 and what's allowed in that. Obviously, there's been some concerns around what goes in B3. I think maybe if that's something we can do in the near future, maybe we ought to hold off putting anything else in B3 until we can decide what we really want to go into that district. So, I mean, I know, I hate to put this off if the man wants to sell the property and delay things. I think perhaps maybe we should table this until we can firm up what the B3 district needs to be. No excessive time, obviously, but just if this can be kicked off to, if we can have that discussion perhaps next meeting, maybe we can refine what our desires are for the future.
Okay. All right. Good point. Any other questions?
What can go in the B3 as far as residential?
Is residential?
Yeah, what can go in the B3 that would be similar to residential? In other words, once it's rezoned Z.
You can do multifamily, which is townhouses or apartments or condos within a multifamily district with a special use permit.
So Stephen, go ahead. Okay. No,
Once it's zoned B3 and then somebody else buys it, it'll still be B3. Correct. But they can still do that as far as the townhome.
Once it's Zone B3, they
Goes with the
have
sale of
multiple
land.
options for land use. Yeah,
Right.
B3s are
Yeah,
very
the zoning
expansive.
runs with the land. That's correct.
Right.
That is correct.
But like John, probably table it to him, get some more clarification on what can go there.
I can tell you, though, the discussions that I've heard so far has been a commercial use on that site. I've never heard any residential use being proposed for that site, in spite of the comp plan designation, which does say residential. So just want to make sure that's understood.
Okay. Any other further questions for staff? If not, we'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor to close the public hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. What's the recommendation, council?
Yeah,
I recommend we table this to the next meeting.
All right, got a motion?
To discuss what can go in it.
So that's
Oh,
a
you just
whole
want,
nother.
yeah, that's another topic, right?
Whatever.
You're talking about just tabling this to the next meeting?
Yes.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
until we can get some, I mean, I feel like the B3 is up in the air right now, so until we can get some clarification on which direction we decide to go as a council on B3, I think it would be best, that way they know what's going on. So I'd second that.
Okay. All right. So a motion and a second to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you, sir. All right, let's see. We'll move now to citizens' comments. If there's anyone wishing to speak during citizens' comments, I'll ask that they come forward this time. If you will, please state your name and address for the record, and I'll ask that you hold your comments to 3 minutes and or less, and I'll ask the clerk if she will time the speakers. Anyone wishing to speak?
Good evening, council. My name is Luke Stansel. I just recently purchased a house at 310 East Church Street. I come here to say that my wife and I moved into town while we considered other places to move, like the town of Beaufort and Moorhead and Raleigh, as we're just newly married, looking to settle down and raise our family. And we are very glad to do that here in the town of Smithfield. We're both from Johnston County. Upon purchasing our house, we noticed that there was a dead tree on the city side of the sidewalk. And when I mean it was dead, every person that finally came to our house said that this was a dead tree. That posed a safety issue to my property and to my family, since my master bedroom is on the front side of the house. I'm not here to, degrade the town. I'm not here to get on anybody specifically, but I called the town 5 times about this matter. No one came besides a tree surveyor that was contracted. It looked like he was going around to all the trees in our neighborhood to determine what trees needed to be worked on. And he said that through hurricane season, this tree would fall. So I called So I originally called 3 times, and then I called 2 more times, and nobody from the town came to our house to determine if this tree. So I called an elected official that sent me to Councilman Stevens, and I would like to publicly thank him that he's everything that a public servant should be. He came after lunch to my property. He called the Public Works Department and the Electric Department to come and determine this tree should be cut down. And I want to publicly thank Councilman Stevens for a job well done for doing that. But that being said, the town was still slow to react, and 48 hours later, the tree fell onto our house in the middle of the night. Now, thankfully, it didn't fall 7 hours later where we were scheduled to have a yard sale and have people in our front yard and at our house. So the reason that I am here, and you'll probably never see me again here, is to state that our local government is here to provide safety to our community. And only living here for 7 or 8 weeks, I haven't seen that when we had a risk posed to my property, to my family, and potentially other people that were going to be in our yard and on our property 7 hours later. So that being said, I'm just asking and bringing this to the attention of the council, and I would like to recognize one of the city employees, Lawrence. He came to our house. He called me that night at 11:30. Councilman Stevens called me at 11 o'clock after I informed them. Everybody has been nice, professional, but the town was slow to react. And I just wanted to bring that to the town's attention that when there is a safety issue, I think the citizens should be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay. All right, we'll move on now to the consent agenda. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Move now to our business items. Our first business item, is consideration and request for approval to amend the fee schedule due to the increase in landfill tipping fees by Johnston County. Is that you, sir?
It is.
Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In front of you, starting on page 25, going through page 30, you'll see a request to increase the sanitation fees by 34 cents per month per customer. That comes out to $4.08 per customer per year. We received notice from Johnston County that they were increasing their solid waste tipping fees $3 per ton on June 25th. So we had already approved our budget and our fee schedule. The $3, if you look at the last 12 months of sanitation tipping fees as well as number of customers, in order to stay status quo with our budget, we would need to increase those fees by the 34 cents. That equates to about $16,747 a year. On page 28 and 29 is the crux of the changes in the fee schedule. For Stanley monthly pickup, it's going to run from $18.21 and be increased to $18.55 per month. We would put this into effect on or about the first billing period of August to coincide with the same time period that Johnston County is increasing the fees to the town. That is the ask.
Any idea why the county was so late? And, I mean, they have a budget just like we have a budget, and it's due into the end of June. So this letter is dated June 24th that I'm seeing, right,
Yeah,
from
yep,
the county.
that is.
Any idea why? I mean,
I do not know. I do not know.
it is what it is,
Yep.
but, I mean, I was just curious if that's something that just came up last
went
minute for
through-
them, or?
Yeah, I went
You know.
through the last 9 years of budgets to see
the types of increases we've seen from the county and when we receive them, and we've always received them in a timely manner. Some of them have been less than $3, less than $3. Some have been more than $3, and they haven't been every year. So I'm not sure what created the late disclosure this year.
I mean, like I said, I understand it. It's not, I was just curious if if we knew. What was it? I mean, it is. We got to pay for it. So we want to keep doing what we're doing as far as the level of service that we are
That's right.
providing. So, and you see that, I guess my concern is with the growth that we're having, it only means that we're going to have more and more, right? So from our standpoint, do we feel like this is enough to cover us? I mean,
Well, we analyze this every fiscal year during the budget process.
Okay.
So I've only analyzed this through this budget process, fiscal year '25. So you may see an increase next year from the county, and we'll have to deal with it again. But based on what we're seeing, if everything remains status quo and we have growth, even though that growth adds additional waste, the sanitation fees that customer pays should pay for it.
got it. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Mike or staff at this time regarding this?
Is that, I mean, cost of doing business, everything's going up. I mean, but there's just, this isn't a notice, this is a telling us it's going up. This isn't, there's no explanation.
Yeah, this is the classic memo we receive.
Are they usually like this?
It is
This vague?
exactly
I mean,
like
just,
this.
hey, it's going up on this date. Not,
yes,
hey,
sir.
we're fighting the same fight everybody's fighting, paying people more, you know,
This is what we traditionally receive.
okay. I mean, I have to do pricing on my private job, and if I were to send something like that into a Walmart or a Food Line, they laugh at me and throw it back in my face. But that's what it is.
Any other questions, comments? If not, what's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion we approve the request from the town manager. Second.
Have a motion and a request to approve the fee schedule as requested by the town manager, the amendment to the fee schedule, to the increase in the fees from the county. So I think I did have a second, right? Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, business item number 2 was added. That was a discussion on the social district in the downtown area. Councilman Stevens, you want me to turn it over to you, sir? I mean, if
Yes,
that's-
last Thursday, we had a wonderful, very productive meeting with the DSDC. And I think they're heading in the right direction. Good talk, back and forth dialogue. I think we agreed to keep that dialogue going, to have more meetings, joint meetings. I think that's great for the town. Communication is always great. And at the end, the social district was brought up. And there seemed to be everybody, I should say for everybody, a large number of the DSDC board was in favor of. They were looking direction. How can we get this passed? How can we get this passed? And I heard from other councilmen, okay, well, maybe shorten time frame, shorten days, shorten the map up, all of which I'm in favor for. And I feel like, as a board, as we just did tonight, we kicked the can down the road quite a bit. And I feel like we have businesses leaving town in a time where we're experiencing all this growth. We need to be taking advantage of that and attracting the commercial along with the residential. And I mean, we're just gonna keep kicking the can down the curb, so I just wanted us, I was hoping everybody would be here. Guess not. But we owe it to downtown to take action, to give them every tool in their tool belt to market their business, to do what they can do to get people to come, eat, spend money, play, go to the amphitheater, and I just feel like we're falling behind the curve.
Yeah, we're just letting God.
We look around at other municipalities are doing it, and I hate to say everybody's doing it, so we should do it. It's never good.
This is the last model.
I mean, it's not the only excuse, but I just feel like we're missing out on opportunities for people to come and invest in this downtown and to improve it. It's been the same my entire life. And unless we start doing stuff different in our downtown, nothing's going to change. It's going to be the same old, same old. I mean, I didn't know Luke was coming, but he hit the nail on the head. There are other places for people to go. There are people who work from their laptops now. I'd say this a lot to a lot of people. I don't know if I would be here if I didn't have my opportunity to come back and continue on a family business, try to continue on a family business. So we've got to attract the young crowd. We've got to attract businesses to invest in our downtown, and just kicking the can down the street. I'm just so, that's how I feel about the whole social district. So I like for us, who's the ones that are here to, I mean, I would agree to shorten this map. I would agree to less hours. But I'd like to see us do something.
I know,
Open it up for discussion, I guess.
I know we discussed last week, I think Councilman Dunn brought it up. I think we all agree, start out small and get a sample size first. Let's see how it does. I think we said Wednesday through Saturday. Is that what you
That
recommended?
was an option I
Yeah,
threw
an
out,
option.
maybe, yeah.
I think that would be a good start. And I'm really not wild about crossing Market, to be honest with you right now.
Understand.
Uh,
I mean, I'm not either, and unfortunately, the reason I think we're in this downtown predicament boils down to Market Street.
Right.
But there's nothing anybody in this room can do about Market Street, Highway 70, DOT road. They want to move traffic. They don't care about the people investing their livelihoods in downtown Smithfield.
Well,
So how would you,
I would think I understand the safety issue of crossing the highway, let's call it what it is, a highway. But if you decide to have the downtown district, I think it's extremely unfair to the restaurants that are on the other side of that road.
right, to
I
exclude
mean,
them?
my main point was to cut off, I think I don't have my map in front of me, I wasn't aware this was coming up. North Second and North Third at this point. There's no viable businesses down there that I think would be interested in it. I may be wrong. But I do have a question about, I don't think it should just stop at the center line of the road. I think that's
No.
extremely unfair to the restaurant on the other side of the road. But a question I had, perhaps someone can shed some light on this. If we were to adopt a smaller footprint of this, besides the signage expense that downtown development would have to undergo, I know when we do this, we have to apply, my understanding is we have to apply to the state for it to be accepted. Is that correct?
Yes.
So let's say that on North Second Street, where we ship it is a brewery goes in, or where Big Boy Gaming and a brewery goes in. How big a problem would it be to extend it if the situation arose? I guess is my question. I don't want to limit us, but at the
This-
same
this-
time, I don't want to make it too big.
Yeah. This is a ordinance that you'd be creating for the social district, and then part of that ordinance is the map that would go with it, where this is allowed. So basically, you go through the same process of amending any ordinance, the same as this one. And then we would have to send the amended map to the state to get it approved.
Okay. I don't want to cause excess work, but at the same time, I don't want to just open it all up.
We had a meeting, DSTC had a meeting, you can if you want. DSTC had a meeting today, this afternoon. We talked a little bit about this and what we would need to do to try to talk to the council to make this more amenable. And I think their goal is to just try to get it going. If we need to go smaller, we need to reduce the hours, the days, they're okay with that. They just believe that we need to get it going forward to spur the conversation for additional businesses to come downtown. That was a big discussion this afternoon, was the restaurants and retail are leaving our downtown. And we need to do something to try to keep them here and bring more here. So that you can't create a nightlife, one, if we're not open, and two, if there's nothing to go to. And if we're going to create lawyers' offices and bail bondsmen, that's all we're going to have downtown, then we don't need a social district. But if you want restaurants and you want somewhere to go in the evenings to have a nice meal, then this is one way to take a step in the right direction, in my opinion. And I think that's what DSTC is asking for.
Mike, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe towns of Clayton, and I believe I read that Benson just in the last week or last 2 weeks have approved a social district. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
Benson, I actually have some information that I took from them. They approved their social district open Tuesday through Wednesday from 1 to 8, Thursday through Saturday 1 to 10, and Sundays 1 to 6.
I'm in favor of closing it off. It would not extend down North Second and not extend down North Third. So you take those arms off, it would go incorporate on front, only artery would go across up or north of Market would be the as shown on this map, around the little round jug in his parking lot. And then I don't think it's fair just to stop at Centerline because you do have a restaurant on that side, and there are buildings where restaurants could go. And then if you bring it down to, as shown, include the Evan Gardner Museum, because they participate in the wine walk, and Evans Jewelers over there participates, and they also sell wine. So I like the way along Market Street, and then just down Third on South End. So pretty much just taking those two. What I would propose is to take these two, North Second and North Third Street, off of the map. As far as, and then we can, and then let's settle that, and then let's talk about the hours. Is that palatable?
Say, the businesses on Market,
You've got some.
All businesses on Market that would be included.
The
it would be
front-
included.
On both sides
On
of the
both sides,
market.
and this is all voluntarily too. They don't have to
That's right,
participate in this.
'cause we
Nobody
did-
has to participate in this.
As we did here.
Business does not want to participate in it, they don't have to participate.
And this would run from 4th Street, sorry.
4th Street,
4th
yeah.
Street to Front Street.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Both sides not extending down either way on North.
I mean, only, yes, except for along North Front Street to the back of the way it's drawn on this current map.
Right.
I assume the town will have a sign on the window that says not permitted in town hall.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Trust
and
me.
Yeah, we would have the sign, we would have the sign.
I see enough.
Yeah, we would, and that was business, I know of one that did not want to
That's fine.
partake in
But
that.
they can
and
have the
said they-
option.
And that's because
Yeah,
that's
they
not
would
their
put a
business
sign on
model.
their- they would put a sign on the front door or whatever.
But we've got to give these guys every ounce of support now. I mean, I think this is, every ounce of support. So I know I'm making people mad, but it's okay.
I'm good with the down market and cutting off North Second and Third.
What about,
I'm okay with that.
I'm also okay not 7 days a week. I'm extremely okay Wednesday through Saturday.
That's what I would say.
This is where.
And we can take Sunday, I mean, I get it, but
Oh,
just be careful with Sunday, but
Yeah.
we can add that later, but.
What,
I-
oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I would recommend Wednesday through Saturday, no later than 10
4 to 10,
PM. Pardon?
4 to 10.
It's the afternoon.
I'd probably say, go in the middle, either, I would say 2, you say 4, I'd say maybe 3 to 10. Because some businesses close at 5, or, we heard that in a meeting the other night, it's kind of a, between 5 and 6, there's a lot going on. So give them a little time to possibly draw some business in there.
Would there be any benefit for Saturday to have a different hours on Saturday? I'm asking, right?
What were you proposing,
'Cause
Roger?
I think I heard 4,
10?
4 to 10.
4 to 10.
Well, I said we would go 3 to 10, and if you want to do that Wednesday through Friday, and then possibly Saturday 12 to 10.
That's,
Would that Would you be? Is that
Yeah, oh, yeah.
acceptable?
that makes sense. That's condensed.
I mean, that's a small sample size where we
I'm not sure.
can test it and see where it's at.
I had 2 different things.
It'll make us a little more retail friendly, if that's what, because we heard some of that the other night in the meeting, that we were not retail friendly. We are known as people to be hard to deal with. And I don't think that's as much now as what it used to be, but you still have that stigma over you.
And this will help.
I'm sure there's room for improvement, so.
One of the DSTC members said, he goes, well, y'all been known to get hard to get along with. And I think I responded right back to him, well, let's change it now. Now's the time to change it.
That's right.
Let's look forward. I mean, this is, we're just, and
So we've got is everybody okay with the dimensions, the restrictions we put on?
so it's along Market, south on Third to Soto Sopa, south on Front to include the amphitheater,
Right.
and
Exclude North Second and North Third.
exclude North Second, exclude North Third, and it only goes to the edge of the Little Brown Jug parking lot
Right,
on North Front.
okay, so that's, and then time frame, Wednesday through Saturday, I think we're good with those days.
Good to me.
Well, okay, can we, I heard Wednesday through Friday one time. What was? Yeah, I want to make sure I got that. Wednesday through Friday was what time?
We said 3 to 10, right? Is that what we had discussed? Because we kind of met in the middle there.
3 to 10, okay.
Sure.
Like that, okay. And then Saturday, we'd suggested possibly 12 to 10, extending it out a little bit.
Makes sense.
I think that's a good start.
I do too.
Does each amendment have to go to the state? Like when you change hours, it has to go to the state? Anything you change has to go to
I
the state?
think
Any
so.
change would
Yeah.
have to go to the
I think they have to approve, right, the ABC board or something
Yes.
has to approve it.
That's correct.
Yeah. Probably, I don't know if the local one has to do it as well. I'm not sure how that works, but Probably not.
I know the state has to.
the state does. Okay.
I don't think the local one
I
does.
don't think so. I don't think so either.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Sounds good.
Correct.
Might be. Is that?
What currently is open downtown on Sunday? I'm just curious.
Restaurants.
Restaurants.
Twisted Willow.
Just a Willow open sometimes.
Any shops?
Yeah, Pandora Trail's open.
Soda's not, is it?
Movie
I think
theater.
I think they're reduced hours.
How theater's open on.
Movie theater, Soto Sopa.
Didn't seem interested.
They ain't interested.
Okay.
I don't think he'll participate in it.
Yeah, he
From
won't.
what he,
Yeah.
He said he wouldn't
Yeah,
participate, but
that's
he's
the-
fine with them having it downtown,
Yeah.
suggesting we
I
do.
mean, he was the one who, yeah, he said, whatever we can do to get people down here.
I think Wednesday through Saturday's a good start. I think hours are reduced on Sundays. I know the Twisted Willow has, I think, 11 to 3 or something on Sunday, I think is their hours or something like that. I don't know who else is open, but
Well, you know, in 6 months, we can always revisit this.
We can always revisit it. If it gets out of hand,
Shut it down.
I would support revoking it, but if we don't give it a try, all we're gonna do is talk about it.
Yep.
So, that's all I got to say about that.
We have to approve an ordinance in order to, you already had the first reading.
Yeah,
That's the last one. It'll have to be amended with all this.
All right. If you would, let me make a copy of
Sure.
this for everybody.
Yeah, let give the, I mean, while the manager's doing that, yeah, we let him make some copies of the ordinance, because we do need to understand, you know,
Right.
and,
I understand.
and it requires an ordinance, if that's, you know, how you guys want to proceed. So let's make sure we have that in front of us to understand that. So, and I will say, just my apologies for
Sorry. I didn't see it.
my apologies for not being in attendance at the joint meeting, but I had some health issues in my family that I had to deal with, so thanks to the Mayor Pro Tem for filling in there. But I understand it was a good meeting with downtown development, and I heard there was some really good conversation. I do believe that our downtown, though we should be obviously focusing on the entire community, right? But our downtown is another piece of the puzzle to having a great community. And I think we're at a very pivotal time for our downtown right now. And whether it's a social district or whatever, I think I see that not only as a challenge, but I see that as a great opportunity. I think it's right now, we've got about 2,500 homes on the books, roughly. That's quite a few people coming into the town of Smithfield, right? And I think right now is the opportunity for us to try to put things into place to recruit businesses downtown, to have that after hours. I hear so many times that we have the courthouse and the other government buildings, which is great. I think those people coming into downtown are supporting our businesses and our restaurants and everything else. I want them here, right? But we also close down after 5 o'clock, right? And so, maybe this again, maybe is a challenge for us, but I look at it on the positive side, that it can also be a good opportunity for us to help maybe shape the downtown the way that we want it to be. So now, again, that has nothing to do with the social district. There's comments.
No, I mean,
It is-
businesses
it
still
is
have to
in
come in.
gen- it
Some
is
of the
in
businesses
general.
bring good products.
It is in general, right?
But our job as government is to provide opportunities, and it's up to businesses to come in and make the investments and to invest their livelihoods. That's what every single person does who runs a business. And I don't give them every opportunity to succeed.
Well, I think the first time, one of the first times we were talking about this, we kind of went wide scale.
Yeah.
We went just wide open.
It scared everybody.
Yeah,
I think it was like a sticker shock, and then, but I think having a smaller footprint, reduced hour, or reduced weekly days, and manage the hours, I think it's a good start. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
I do, I think it's a pretty good start, so. And my big, part of my concern the other night we were talking on Thursday was crossing over to the library. I didn't really like the idea of that, so we've kind of cut that out and cut down North Second, so I think it's contained to that area. It'll be up to the police force to make sure it's maintained, so.
think this statute is the same, is this based off the same statute at every other municipality? Is this the state statute, or is this our version? Help me, say that.
So, General Statute 160A,
Yeah.
205.4, that would be the statute, right?
And we'd be,
And as well as North Carolina General Statute 18B-300.1. And I'll look down to our attorney, but just make sure that those are, I believe, the two ordinances, the two general statutes that we need to be adhering to. Yes, sir.
and
Look
then
at the color one.
we would just then fill in the blank of our specific locations and specific times. And then the statute takes care of all the other rules around the social district.
Correct.
I think the part is 13B1 where it talks about times in our ordinance.
I don't know.
That is correct. That would be something that would need to change should the council wish to move forward. That Section 13B would need to be
You don't have all
changed
the
per
pages.
what was discussed. And what I heard was Wednesday through Friday, 3 until 10 o'clock, and then Saturday, 12 until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we're missing a page.
Okay, all right. So I think the clerk is making sure that you have everything that's needed for the ordinance. So since this is kind of on the fly, so just bear with.
Sorry.
No. Hey,
Sorry.
it is what it is, right? I mean, I
Well,
think
yeah.
it's good. I like progress, so.
Mr. Mayor, to answer your question, you're asking about if these were the two correct statutes authorized?
Yes, sir.
They are.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Sorry, I was trying to figure
No,
out.
you were trying to find it. I get it. No problem. Does that answer your question, Councilman Stevens, as far as the statutes
Yeah,
go?
yes,
Those
yes,
two
sir.
there.
Thank you.
Let's see. Is the map just incorporated in
Yes,
then? So
it
it's not mentioned in the ordinance, it would just be incorporated into the ordinance, is
I
that
think
correct?
it is mentioned,
Is
it just says map someplace.
Okay, that's what I was trying to find. I didn't know if it was.
It's in that red stuff.
Requesting permits.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Is item number 11 the only clause here reference our liability as a town? Is that the only way it addresses it?
Number 11.
Number 11.
Well, the number
Was it
9 would
only-
be too. I mean, they have their own insurance
Liability for
policy.
the town.
Number 9.
Okay.
I guess
That's
that's-
what
I
that's-
don't
this
think
is
that has
it.
anything to,
Yeah, this is actually current. This is what we have currently. This right now.
Gotcha.
And then what we're adding to it is this.
Gotcha. All right. Yep.
Okay.
All right, so don't look at the one you gave us.
Disregard that one.
Not the one that,
Crash history?
where's Brian?
That's the ones we got.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
So, yeah, this will,
all we got now.
the red, this, on what you're getting now, anything in red would be new language. Anything in black would be existing language in the city ordinance.
Who's going to do background checks on these businesses to make sure that they have this coverage and all that, and have these things signed?
I think you have to provide that to the state liquor board.
Now, what specifically are you referring to?
In number 9, it says,
Yeah, that is actually current language, and that is what we require if they're going to have a special event now in the downtown area on our public right-of-ways. And in order for them to do that, they have to request a permit, and that's what you approve here. And planning department and myself, we make sure that they have the insurance coverages to do that.
Okay.
DSDC does have those coverages, so if they have a DSDC event, then they have that. But that's current language that we are currently operating under. Only the red would be what you're voting on tonight.
And I do know well, it's my understanding, I don't know, it was hearsay, but my understanding that the wine walk, which no, has nothing to do with this, there was local ALE officers there checking. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
correct.
I believe you were present there, so.
And I think the ALE officer has been involved on these conversations with the DSDC, and they're well aware of how to handle this.
Yes.
They'd be the one to answer your question, how us and them.
I'm just worried
would be-
about liability. I guess that would probably be an answer for the attorney about the town's liability for this. I mean, do you think this?
Well, that's kind of what Mike was speaking to a little bit earlier. Most of that isn't changing about liability requirements. So it's talking to you about the special permits, but you also have generally in here, the statute talks about liability permittees and what they have to do as well, which is still part of the actual statute. But you've already pretty much, your liability section isn't going to change from what you have in here, because it's still getting to about any of the permit stuff as well. And then you're worried about, so you're really worried about what's the town's liability if someone gets
There
hurt.
you go.
in it. Well, that's where you still get into the statute requirements of, okay, is the permittee responsible, or is it the individual's act? It's not really the town that's looking at this, because you're approving an ordinance, just like you're approving any other ordinance. It's still a responsibility of the people to actually follow the ordinance, and in this case, it's gonna be the permittees who are being allowed to serve the alcohol.
So no
as
fair
well
out
as
here,
the
they
people.
don't have their license, but they're serving, it's not gonna come back on us.
Yeah, that's not the town. That's not the town at all.
It's kind of, I guess an example I would say is that if you're 21 years old, the North Carolina law allows a 21-year-old to drink alcohol. If that then 21-year-old goes out and does something, they can't sue the state of North Carolina because of
Yeah,
that.
that's their act, and there's that law already.
It's just, right.
We
Okay.
mentioned that at the meeting the other night, I think, so Bob, Mike
Yeah,
mentioned
he's,
that as well, it's on him, or,
they go, there's training behind these permits.
right, he mentioned that, he said it was their
They know
responsibility.
they're on the hook if they overserve people.
Yeah.
So you feel comfortable with this writing? Is that what you're saying?
I do.
Okay.
And it pretty much follows pretty close to the statute, and it's 18V 1004, which is what they're basing it off of. Or 300.1, I apologize.
And, hate to put you on the spot, but Chief, do you mind coming up?
Come on down.
I know we've had, you've had discussions, you've been involved right here's fine. You've been involved in the discussions and so forth about the social district. Just want to make sure, from your stance, I know what we have discussed and things that you've said in previous meetings, but do you see any, obviously there can always be issues with anything that we do, right? We had an issue today, right? But it had nothing to do with the social district, but from your stance, I mean, do you see anything, I mean, from a social district
I've talked to other chiefs
standpoint?
that have social districts in their areas, and they haven't experienced any problems. I think the tools that we have to mitigate this are well thought out with the cups and the signage, and there's plenty of laws on the books if somebody walks outside of the zone or somebody misbehaves. And I think we're well positioned now to have the police force to take care of it. So I think there's not going to be a problem for us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Any other questions, comments, or,
I have no more to
Sir.
say.
sorry?
Anybody else? I've said all I can say.
Yeah.
Without circling back.
Anyone else have any issues?
Anybody else?
I mean, I think it's, like I said, it's one that's been talked about, and I think this is, I mean, what I've heard tonight is, to me, this sounds like a good compromise to move forward with something. Should it not work, we can always take it away. If we have issues, we can always take it away. Or if we want to expand it, it can be expanded,
It'd be
right?
just like your driver's license.
Right. So,
Take it what?
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I hope it's a tool that can help the businesses downtown and attract more. Time will tell if it benefits. We can always expand hours, expand days, once we know that it's not going to be a item that gets out of control. That's why we can still monitor it.
And like we said Thursday night, the businesses know their responsibility, where it lies. I mean, they understand this, so. And Councilman Stevens' point, they go through, I'm sure, some type of training to help avoid any issues, so.
Will the DSDC have any way to govern the metrics on whether this is actually helping or not helping? I mean, will they have anything to be able to give us any feedback?
Well, we're going to do our best to try to do exactly that, but, you know, when you're talking about all the variables that are in
That's what I'm saying.
place,
I mean, it
it's
could
going
be
to
a
be
hot
very
one day, it could be
difficult
cold one
to
day, yeah.
be able to point to one thing. Usually, I'll tell you, what's going to help the downtown the most is just getting the word out that we're in business and that we're trying to be proactive, and we want business downtown. We want restaurants and retail downtown, and we're trying to be as business friendly as we can, and I think this is a sign of it.
Yes, that is the goal here.
Well, it was mentioned the other night that this may be something that takes some time for it to show any benefit, as new businesses may want to come downtown. So I don't think our expectations should be that we'll see immediate
No.
action, but just be patient with
You
it.
can get a lot of feedback by word
Yeah.
of mouth. Well, you know, Smithfield's got it. We're going down to Smithfield, you know. You get a lot of word of mouth.
So,
I'd like to, do y'all have any more comments? Anything?
I don't.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 518-203 with the changes to the map discussed. Shannon, do I need to state those changes?
No, sir, I have those. Thank you.
Closing, not, okay. And then with the days, Monday through Friday,
No,
excuse me. I get my W's and M's mixed up. Wednesday through Friday,
3 to 10,
3 to 10, and Saturday,
12 to 10.
12 to 10. And that's my motion.
So, can I just?
Yes.
I know you said.
Restate it.
Yeah, do you mind if I state this as far as the map goes, just to make sure that we have it? I want to make sure that we got from North 4th Street on both sides of East Market Street down to Front Street. Front Street just includes the section there. I guess that would be the little brown jug area.
Yeah.
Correct. And then it would include by the amphitheater and down South 3rd Street to Johnston Street.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah, I guess I should have stated what it included, not worry about what we're taking out, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would include 4th Street to Front Street along Market, south on 3rd to Johnson, south on Front to Johnson, including the amphitheater, and north on Front to the edge of the Little Brown Jug property.
Okay.
Yep, that's the motion.
Could you repeat the ordinance number, please?
Ordinance number 518-2023.
Thank you.
All right, so I have a motion. Do I have a second to approve that motion?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. right. I think that is the last item of business that we have this evening. Anything further from the council? We have plenty of time. What do y'all want to do?
3 more hours, don't we?
Just kidding. I did want to say thank you to Ted and your team and to the police and fire department for the incident that occurred today on North 2nd Street, that we had a driver to take down some utility poles and a traffic accident there that caused us, about 600 or 700 people without power. Is that right, Ted? You know, I had a lot of people, you know, when they were calling and saying, okay, what happened? I told them it was a motor vehicle accident on North 3rd. They're like, well, I live in South Smithfield, or I live in wherever, my power's out, and they just couldn't understand it. And, you know, I was like, look, it's they're lines. They go, you know, I get it, right? But, you know, I can't really explain that, but it is what it is. But I do want to thank staff, police and fire and our EMS teams, and Ted, your teams, and whoever else, probably Public Works as well. I don't know who else was involved there, but thanks for getting on that with the temperatures so high today. You know, obviously right in the middle of the day, it was extremely important, and just another reason why I'm proud of this town's staff and the things that you do. As mayor, that just makes my job so much easier. And you guys got it back on. You got the electricity back on safe and in a very quick manner. So thank you to your team, sir, and if you will pass that along to all of your team and to the police department for running them down, right? I saw the picture, Chief. I didn't know if you were the one running the individual down or not. But again, thanks. Things could have been a lot different in that situation, right? So luckily, no one was injured there. But I'm glad that we were able to get things restored as quickly as we did. So thanks to the full team for what you did today. Anything else, sir, Mr. Manager?
I would only remind everyone that we have National Night Out on August 6th at Johnson Community College. Please come and plan to attend, and turn your lights on outside your house on that day and that evening. And because of that, our next council meeting will be August 13th rather than the 6th. So August 13th at 7 o'clock will be our next council meeting.
All right. If there's nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.